Hey everybody, this is the tarp set up over top of that stuff that I built because I painted the engine. So I needed to keep the peace, keep everything, paint free over there, especially over there. Keep that paint free, keep this paint free, keep that paint free. There wasn't much I could really do about the air. I mean, the neighbors were kind of like, but geez, you should have seen what I was doing. All right, okay, so where I'm at right now is I kind of have a bit of an emergency, right? And the emergency is that the engine is rusting. I had no idea that it would be rusting so fast on the outside and also on the inside, right? I opened up one of the inspection covers and noticed that there was rust starting to spread on the inside of the engine, and that really freaked me out. And so what I did is I took this paintbrush here and this bottle of 3-in-1 oil, and I took off the valve cover and I profusely and completely painted everything I could with that oil. Like the rocker arms, the springs, the this, the that, the other thing, whatever that was there, I splashed oil on it real good, and even more so that it would sort of drain down through the holes in the engine. I also sprayed some into the spark plug holes, and a bunch, like all around the spark plug holes and then inside. And I also sprayed some down the distributor hole. I also sprayed some down, the whatever, like I took that brush and I splashed oil all over the inside of the engine that I could, But so I'm gonna turn the camera over to the engine so you can see what it looks like when it's all painted. And here it is. Pretty sweet, huh? It's gold. I painted it gold because I spent so much money on the engine that I thought that it would be a good color for it. It's pretty sweet. Painting it in this tent here was kind of, oh, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, but painting the engine in here was it kind of went almost like I thought it would, almost like I thought it would. You can't really tell, but it's pretty. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it, But sprayed on a coat of primer. After that, I sprayed on the color, two coats of that. So it was the primer. Then I waited an hour, and then I sprayed it with the color. Waited 10 minutes, sprayed it again with the second coat, waited an hour, and then I sprayed it with the finish, so it looks a little shiny. Yeah, it looks really cool. Looks really nice. Looks a lot different than it used to. Yeah. So yeah, under here is where I noticed the rust, and I also noticed some rust starting to happen on the iron castings inside this area, and so I kind of freaked out, and I freaked out a little bit. But under here, you can see the rods that go up to the rocker arm and the push rods. Those are the push rods, I guess. But anyways, I also used some of this deep creep. It's like penetrating oil, right, and lubricant, and it's in a spray can, so it's like sprays. And so I sprayed some more down in every single spot that I could. I sprayed some in here, right, and it came like blasting out of this hole, right, so it's all connected. I sprayed a whole bunch down in there, a whole bunch, and more down in the spark plug holes. I also sprayed some inside of the timing cover, right, and I didn't spray any in here because that's where the water and the engine coolant is going to be. So no need for that. Man, it looks so shiny. On the camera, it kind of looks a little bit yellow, but in person, it looks a tiny bit different. So it kind of looks like, it looks like gold. That's basically what I'm trying to say. All right, so now what I wanted to do, because the harmonic balancer needed to be installed, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to install it, and then maybe what I could have done is I could have did like an emergency break-in for the engine without knowing if the fuel pump works or the other things, the distributor, the starter, the generator, not knowing if any of that works, and not actually having the rest of the clutch, that's on its way back from New York, right? Just put on the harmonic balancer and then put on the flywheel. I have that, right? And you need, apparently you need to have those two things. You need to have the harmonic balancer on one end of the crankshaft, and you apparently need to also have the flywheel at the other end of the crankshaft, so that there's two, weights at each end of the crankshaft, so that the harmonic balancer can absorb the vibrations. And the flywheel also works in sort of a way, I guess, because it's like a heavy thing, and it also, spins with the harmonic balancer, and somehow with physics and how physics works. Apparently, that's the reason why it is required, to have the flywheel there. So I could put that on after I put this on. Go get the hoist, pick this up, put this in the Rambler, made it to the transmission. Hopefully that goes well, right? Get this sucker on the engine mounts, and connect it to the bell house, right? And you see what I mean with this picture here? This is the timing cover, but it's a bit of a different timing cover, and it's also a tiny bit of a different harmonic balancer, because this has one notch right here for the timing mark location in the 10 series, and I have a 10 series car and 10 series setup. But as you can see right here, there's more than one dot to line it up with this. But I don't know. And you can kind of see that it's a bit of a different setup here. Bit of a different setup than what this looks like. See? That's where this is supposed to go. There's supposed to be two of those, according to this picture, which is right here, right? There's supposed to be two of those middle brackets, according to this picture. So I think there's a good chance that it's not always 100% accurate, and I hope it all works out. But what I was going to do is I was just going to dump it in there, and set everything up, put on the distributor, put on all the stuff, right? Put the spark plugs in, put the coil on, put the oil transfer hoses, that go from the lower oil gallery up to the valve cover or spring area, valve assembly, right? And just, start it up. Just try and start it up, get a battery in there, turn it on, just try and, put the carb on, like I don't have the throttle linkage all set up, so I would just put the carb on, and then, feed the fuel pump with a fuel line going right to a jerry can, bypassing the whole entire gas tank, because I'm pretty sure the gas tank's dirty, it needs to be cleaned, and so do the fuel lines. And so I would just take the fuel line, put it in a jerry can, hook it up to the fuel pump, get the fuel pump line, hook it up to the carb. Maybe I saw Uncle Tony from Uncle Tony's Garage. He was feeding the carburetor with a squirt bottle, so I think I might have tried to do that, I guess, and just do an emergency startup, emergency break-in, so that the engine is broken in, the cam is broken in, oil has circulated all over the inside of the engine to stop it from rusting. The outside was rusting quite a bit, just as it was sitting here since last week on Monday. Now it's Wednesday, so that was like 8 or 9 days it's been out here, and apparently that's bad. Apparently that's bad. Tom J from AMC Forum, he tells me, even 1 day or two, and the inside is going to start getting gritty, and yeah, that's bad. What you're doing, having the engine like this, it's not compatible with maintaining it and protecting it, so yeah, that kind of worries me. But I talked to the engine builder today, and he assured me, he said, okay, like I told him all about the rust and the spots that I, just, noticed it. And I told him I was worried about it. And I asked him, what he thought. And he was like, he assured me that everything is lubricated. Everything is, protected with, the assembly lubricant. It's been oiled. And he was right. There was a lot of stuff in there that was oiled. Like all this stuff was already oiled, but I oiled it again even more. And I also like oiled all the other things like the iron castings and stuff like that, just to be thorough, right? Right. And so he assured me, yeah, you got like, probably a couple months, don't worry, right? Or at least I think he said that. But anyways, and so what I'm gonna do, I bought an installer for the harmonic balancer, and the the fitting that goes through the balancer and into the crankshaft threads, which are down there, right? They didn't match. It didn't work, right? This bolt right here, I took this bolt over to a store, right? And I said, hey, listen, I'm trying to just like put on a harmonic balancer just on my own, right? Can you sell me a bolt that's the same pitch thread as this, the same size as this, but just longer, so that I can, stick it through there where it is and into the crankshaft, and then just turn it with the socket, and just like press it on, press it right on there. Apparently back in the day, people used to use hammers and stuff like that to do that, but, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to bang it around. I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't know if it's completely safe, but, yeah, I'm going to try this way. I'm going to try this way. So the bolt's going to go in. It's going to go into the threads back in there. And as I turn it, it's going to push it on, and it's going to go over top of the woodruff key, and it's going to get squished in there. And I've been looking at it to see if it's on cockeyed, and it kind of looks like it's not. Like, it looks like it's pretty even. Like, it's not like this way or this way or this way or this way. Like, it looks like it's pretty even. Looks like it's pretty even to me. And I put a little bit of never seize, anti-seize on the inside of the harmonic balancer that goes on top of the end of the crankshaft, just so that it's removable at some point. Hopefully not too soon. Yeah, I also put some oil around the seal of the timing cover, so that's that's not good for the bolt. That's not good for the bolt. Don't do that, people. Don't do that. Alright? Now, this bolt, I did have a little bit of difficulty threading this through. And I was thinking, maybe I got the bolt like a little bit sideways or something like that. And it might be wrecking the threads. And so I took it out and I looked, and I kind of got down in like this plane of space, right? And I kind of looked at it, and I was like, no, it looks like it's going in there properly. And I think that if you can tell, like, I think this bolt has just been knocked around a little bit inside the bolt container that it was in, and maybe the threads just aren't as, sharp as they used to be. But I put this in a couple of times. It does go in. I looked at the threads after I kind of started it and took it back out, just to kind of be careful with it, because you don't want to screw up the threads in the end of the crankshaft. Because, like that guy with the big goatee on YouTube said, all of this is going to have to come off. You're going to have to take all of this engine apart just to get back in there, and then you're going to have to send out your crankshaft to get the threads redone. And so, yeah, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful with your engine, right? And so, all right, here I go. So I took this bolt, and I got a washer, so the washer will go in there, and sort of the bolt will sort of ride on the washer instead of messing up the back of the So here we go. All right, All right, so it just needed a little bit of a start there to get past the few busted up threads. Right, I'm turning it in by hand. Now it's in there. Now I'm gonna try and work away a little bit faster at this because I want to go have my lunch. All right, so now it's seated, and now it's going in, and now it's starting to pull the harmonic balancer in. It's going in. I'm nervous, a little bit nervous. It does kind of look like it's going in there a little bit off to the side. But maybe that's just a trick. Maybe that's just a trick of my mind. And that looks like it's on there. Now I'm going to take off the bolt. Right? The harmonic balancer has been pressed in there. Now I'm going to take off this bolt, and it's still going to stay in there. The harmonic balancer is still going to stay on there because it's been pressed on, and there's actually a small woodruff key that's in there too, holding it in. And then after I take out this bolt that helped me do the job, because I didn't have a harmonic balancer installer tool, because the one that I bought didn't fit, what I did, I went to the store. Well, I already told you.